Adrian, more on Brooke with you, sir.
Yeah, listen, all of us could give you some more on Brooke. We've gotten 10 years to watch her at a very high level. She's an athlete that has been a fan favorite. She has also finished as high as 5th 2 times at the CrossFit Games, has come back from injury. We have seen her grow up in the CrossFit space, so we've got a little bit of it all from Miss Brooke Wells, and it was a shock to me when she announced that this would be her last year competing at the CrossFit Games, but I can tell you what, she's going to go out fighting tooth and nail for the best finish possible.
Heat 1 of 2 underway for individual event number 4. As you see Abby Domit, who had a tough day yesterday. Domit, one of the athletes that could be in podium contention this weekend and just not having the, at least day 1. But the good news for Domit is that there's 400 points up for grabs today.
Yeah, and she's an athlete that you like to consider doing pretty well on an event like this. We know historically she's actually got some back issues that she's dealt with and managed throughout sports as a youth athlete, coming up through gymnastics, something she's had to be mindful of even coming into the sport of CrossFit, as it was almost something that helped strengthen her back and posterior. So you wonder how she approaches these deadlifts that of course she's going to do in high number throughout this event.
400-meter runs on that Woodway runner to start. As you see Carolyn Prevost there in lane number 2. One who knows her way around a deadlift bar.
Yeah, she knows her way around a deadlift bar, chasing anything athletic. I mean, she's moving quickly through space on a regular basis, and she's going to be a good runner, too.
Gracie Walton in this first heat. If you look at what's stacked up later this afternoon, we said there's a lot of points up for grabs. So what is we have tonight in events 6 and 7, maybe an awesome opportunity for Gracie Walton to put herself back in that top 10 position. Got to get through this first event of the day. As Gracie Walton is watching her fellow countrymen donning that white leader jersey. Christina Lividakis qualifying out of the Rebel Renegade Games. This is her first appearance at the CrossFit Games, as Jennifer Muir is off the runner first, along with Mariana Meza. Muir, another rookie out of Scotland. Muir actually made a little splash and name for herself in the 2023 semifinals, as Brooke Wells is on to the deadlift as well. Now, if you think prime Brooke Wells, this is a home run potential event for someone like with Brooke's skill set. You've got running, deadlifts, and a handstand walk.
Yes, you do. You've got it all. And we're starting to see some real variation in regards to who's kicking up and when on this handstand walk. We talked about it with the men. We're going to start to see some variance and through the first 2 rounds, and then we'll start to see some consistent settling points for these athletes based on pacing of the run and how they navigate all the transitions from the deadlift to the handstand walk.
Mariana Meza on the left side of your screen out of Mexico is your early leader on the handstand walk, as Abby Domit in the center lane, just past the CrossFit decal, has moved into first place after this first round. Domit is done. Actually looks like lane 10 already on the runners. Gracie Walton.
Yeah, you mentioned her chase, and we talked about her a little bit early there on the left of the screen in all black. Her running stride and cadence, we're getting a great shot of it here, is that it's longer and faster than a lot of the other competitors, and that's what got her that early lead into round 1. We'll see if she sticks with it all the way through 5.
Gracie Walton had the fastest deadlift split in the first round of 21 seconds. She was one of 2 athletes that looks like they went unbroken. It was her and Caroline Prevost. So even though the run's going to take longer, when it comes to pacing, Adrian, there's still massive opportunities to make up, because if you can make up 10 seconds on deadlifts, that's 10 seconds you don't have to run faster on the air runner.
That's right, and it's a double positive. If you can conserve energy on the runner, although it takes so much time, and then be faster in the transitions, you're going to literally feel better into round 4 and 5, and we see that plays a huge component in the outcome of this one. And Gracie Walton, one of those athletes that has the complete understanding, just like we saw with the men, that even if you set the fastest time in Heat 1, there's 15 other women that are watching exactly what you do, and they'll be willing to make those tweaks and changes in order to get a better time.
I mean, think about the men's. For the first time in a long time, both men who were leading after the first heat in both heats ended up winning their respective heat, between what Nick Matthew did and Jay Crouch. Lucy McGonigal. It's her rookie individual debut at the CrossFit Games, but as the youngest athlete competing this weekend, Lucy has 2 team championships under her belt, and she is one of 6 athletes competing here this weekend that have Teen Games championships. Gracie Walton back to the deadlift, went unbroken on round 1, and with a hand in the air, takes her first break.
Yeah, and that's what you want to see right there, Chase. Even when athletes break, that it's short and calculated. This is what we mean by race the rest. And there she goes, no hesitation,
wow.
Right upside down.
Just speaks to the confidence she has in her handstand walk ability, as Gracie Walton has top 10 potential. Had her debut at the CrossFit Games last year. Gracie Walton out of Australia took the event win in Firestorm, as Abby Doman is back on the barbell on the left side of your screen. And while she's on the bar, Gracie Walton, after the second round, is already back to the runner.
So fast upside down there by Gracie. We've kind of generally mentioned the handstand walk in the volume. 550 feet, that's almost 2 football fields for everybody watching if you want to get a good visual. And we're taking for granted at how high of a skill demand that actually is. Any CrossFitter within the 4 walls of an affiliate will understand that is a very tough task, and Gracie Walton is pretty much running not just on the woodway but also upside down at this point.
Gracie Walton currently sitting in 19th overall. We have 30 athletes competing. One of the smallest fields we've ever had at the CrossFit Games on the individual side, the only other one being 2020, where they took the top 20. So Gracie Walton is looking to try to get herself closer to that final heat, which traditionally is the top 10. Brooke Wells was moved into 3rd. Brooke Wells had a tough day yesterday. We saw the inability to get up the pegboard in that 3rd and final event last night. We saw the emotion come out there. How important it is to have maybe a great event for a potential bounce back to get back in the game. There's a lot of events left to go this weekend.
Yeah, it's a lot left, and historically we know Brooke struggles with upper body pulling, right? So the pegboard wasn't a huge shock to us, but certainly she expected better than a 22nd, and she's in this unique situation where she's verbally committed to, hey, this is my last year. You got a real unique opportunity here to set yourself up for success in day 2 that can keep you emotionally invested in the fight towards the top, because otherwise it could be really easy to check out also.
We speak earlier about this being her 10th and final CrossFit Games. She has announced her retirement earlier prior to coming in. She has 3 event wins under her belt and has finished in the top 5 twice in her career. 400 meters on those woodway runners. This is the 3rd round of 5. As all athletes are chasing Gracie Walton, who's off the runner and back to the barbell. 220 pounds on the bar.
Gracie here looking a lot like we saw from Nick Matthew in the earlier heat, where her cycle rate is faster. She's descending quickly from the top, but it's that bar speed from the ground to lockout that is creating a tremendous advantage for her right now.
Gracie Walton still had the 2nd fastest split on the round 2 of deadlifts at 22 seconds, and Prevost has the fastest at 20. But even with that break, Gracie Walton is still in that mid-20 time frame. Everyone else is north of 30. So not only is Walton having a good run, she's got a great deadlift and clearly doing well on the handstand walks. She had the fastest handstand walk split in round number 2. 50 more feet for Walton.
Great job there by Gracie, keeping a neutral gaze for her handstand walk, not trying to overarch and look too far ahead. She's just spotting right between where her hands are going to go, This helps prevent a lot of that upper neck and upper trap fatigue that a lot of athletes build by looking up too much.
And her fellow Australian, golly, maybe I need to move to Australia if I want to get fitter. Emily DeRoy,
something in the water,
on the right side of your screen, is sitting in second as Brooke Wells on the left side holding on to third. DeRoy on the right. Brooke Wells wasting no time. Brooke Wells, fantastic handstand walker. Also incredible for her career is that we forget that devastating elbow injury she sustained back in 2021 when it was able to come back the next year in 2022 and still competing at the CrossFit Games.
Yeah, it was extremely impressive to watch the physical recovery by Brooke. I mean, that's a pure example of the fitness built through years, right? We talk about fitness being a buffer from sickness and injury, and she had a devastating injury, but the stability and strength in her upper body and her mental fortitude is what allowed her to have that gracious recovery and get back on the competition floor.
Yeah, just to see her come back to compete at all in 22, let alone get 5th place at the CrossFit Games that year. Gracie Walton. You see Emily DeRoy in the far left, who's sitting in second. 2 women from Australia are your 2 leaders in this heat.
And Chase, Gracie's face says it all. She is hyper-focused on her pace. She knows exactly what she wants to hit. And of course, I'm sure she's watching the meter tick up towards her end goal, but she's really watching how fast am I running and what do I need to do to change my body posture and position in order to do that. Again, another savvy vet move there, chalking her hands up as she gets near concluding this run so that she's ready to grab that barbell and get to the deadlifts.
This is our 19th CrossFit Games, starting all the way back in 2007, and it feels like the tide is turning with fresh, new blood at the Games. Lucy McGonigal is your youngest athlete in the field. She's currently sitting in 4th in this heat, but Lydia Fish is sitting in 2nd place. Annika Greer makes the Games for the first time after years of heartbreak. Miriam Von Wars won the Open 2 times in the last 2 years. And just to see, not only is the future bright in terms of age, but the amount of countries that are being represented with this new batch of athletes.
Yeah, it's really amazing as we even watch Lucy here grind through this run. These athletes are new here to the competition floor. They don't got the same kind of life experience as someone that's 35 years old that they're competing against, so they're learning so much, and they're starting so young in our methodology that it lends itself as a huge advantage.
And that was just the rookies. Gracie Walton, this is only her 2nd appearance at the CrossFit Games. She works her way into her 4th handstand walk.
All alone there on the handstand walk, and that's a good feeling, Chase. It's not one you often get. We mentioned this yesterday. When you're in the lead, it's not one you often get. Sometimes you get it when you're the last one on the floor. But this is a really great feeling. Gracie not taking the time to soak it up because she's focused. She knows she's got a lot of work to do left in this one more round that awaits her.
I'm used to the other one. I'm used to being the last one. Gracie Walton takes a break as Brooke Wells has moved into 2nd place. Walton takes her first break at that 25-foot yellow mark. Athletes do not have to do 50 feet unbroken as Walton gets to her final run.
Yeah, Brooke making slight work of those deadlifts, showing that she really has paced it greatly up into this point. DeRue there taking a bit of a longer rest on the right, which shows that she's operating a touch more at her threshold. Brooke choosing to break up her handstand walks in the 25-foot segments. DeRue has gone unbroken, was able to make up a little bit more time in previous rounds there. But Brooke's in a pretty strong position right now for that 2nd place finish potentially, at least going into round 5.
Brooke finished with her first 50-foot handstand walk. Again, it's 100 total each round except the 5th and final round. They'll have an extra 50 feet at the end. Brooke will stop at 25. DeRoy will go the whole 50. Brooke Wells closing out her 4th round.
Textbook round there by Brooke to kind of finish that up. we talk about as a recipe to success, racing the rest. And who we're watching right now, Gracie Walton, she hasn't taken much of it at all throughout the course of this event so far.
The transitions that she's had as well. There's the rest during the movement, but the rest between them is a key component, especially in a 3-modality event, 5 rounds. There's a lot of opportunities to waste time in an event like this.
That's right. It's very tempting, Chase. You get off that runner, and the last thing you want to do is pick up something heavy, especially when you've already done it 48 times. But it's the discipline and the tenacity and the attitude of these athletes that is really the deciding factor in how they get into attack mode from movement to movement. That is something that they have to practice, and they have to be very in the moment of in order not to listen to their body. Because from a comfort perspective, you don't want to advance as quickly as they are. They're choosing to do it because they want to win.
100 meters left for Gracie Walton on the right side of your screen, your leader in this heat. Time cap is 25 minutes as Walton is in her 5th and final round. Brooke Wells on the right, her twin sister Sydney, who's been a individual games athlete in her own right, and her mom looking on.
Never the easy position to be in, Chase. I've competed at the CrossFit Games many times, and I think my family's more fatigued at the end of every day than I am.
Gracie Walton is off the run and onto the bar. She's had continuing to have one of the fastest deadlift splits of any athlete in this heat. Again, this is heat number 1 of 2. So we have 2 heats of 15 as Walton will break for the 2nd time. So she has yet to do that. Maybe setting herself up for the longer handstand walk to close things out.
Yeah, and simply put, she's at the top end of her threshold right now. We're seeing it from a body language perspective. You see the fatigue on her face, but this is what is asked of you when you're trying to really maximize your output. She's trying to save just enough for this last 150 feet.
50 feet down and back, and 1 more to finish. In the 5th and final round, Walton is done. She took a break at the 25-foot mark in the previous round. And one thing to note, we still have 15 of our top athletes after day 1 coming up after this. So though she's well ahead of the other 14 in this heat, she has to understand that there are 15 athletes and coaches watching and using her pace for race strategy.
That's right, and for the men, we got an opportunity through those 2 heats to see how much this final 50 feet really does add in extra challenge in this specific event. So as she gets ready for this final turnaround, there's a lot of pressure here on the time waste right now that she's taking in order to be prepared for the final 50.
17.5 minutes in. Gracie Walton makes her final 50 feet as she stops at the 25-foot marker. 25 feet left to go for Gracie Walton.
Wow.
She'll get across the finish line, and the time is set for heat number 2. Another Australian with a top performance in their heat. Brooke Wells is off her final set of deadlifts as she's finishing up her first 50 feet of the handstand walk. Oh, that was her last. Wow, Brooke Wells closed the gap significantly on that last 150 feet. Emily DeRoy, I'll give you 0 guesses to where she's from. Another Australian moving into 3rd place.
Great save there by DeRoy.
She knows it.
If you've ever walked on your hands at all, you know that feeling. And that's a scary one.
50 more feet to the finish line for Emily. Emily making her 2nd appearance at the CrossFit Games as an individual. She made it back in 2023. Decided to take a year off, go team, win a CrossFit Games championship on that team, and then make it again as an individual this year. DeRoy is in, as we have plenty of time before we get to that 25-minute time cap. And that is Lucy McGonigal finishing up her final 50 feet.
Great finish for the youngster, and she's feeling every bit of it.
Lucy McGonigal has actually been staying with and training with your 7-time CrossFit Games champ, Tia Claire Toomey. Jen Muir. Work on her final 50 feet.
Jen Muir doing a great job using her lower body as leverage to help propel herself forward. Gymnasts might say, hey, these CrossFitters, they're bending their knees while they're walking. Well, yeah, we're walking. We're not performing. We're trying to cover forward distance, and it helps us do it faster when we get that bend in the legs.
Abby Dahlman's in. She was trying to outrace to the finish line between her and Lexi Neely. So we are past that 20-minute mark. Addie Canio. You can hear how hard these athletes are working.
That's right. And for those of you that have never walked on your hands, it is an extremely difficult position to breathe in. Your rib cage is typically expanded a bit. You've got pressure through your upper body. There's no reprieve. And as you try to fill your lungs and exhale smoothly, it doesn't really exist. There's a strong bracing, and you heard it there from Canio as she was trying to make her way to the finish line.
Livididakis is done. Still have about 3 or 4 athletes left onto the floor. As Sydney Mikulishin is in, so we have Sung Young Choi, Mariana Mesa, and Luisa Marquez finishing up their final round. Choi is in.
It's hard to find a place for the muscles to recover in this triplet chase. You see athletes shaking out their arms. Their legs are blown up from the deadlift and the running, but if they're using their arms on the deadlift, there's really not a moment of reprieve here.
25 more feet for the rookie out of Mexico. Actually qualified at a Far East Throwdown. She trains out of CrossFit Wadex Fitness. And Mesa's in. Final athlete left on the floor, Luisa Marquez. This is more my speed. You know, if I want my own alone time, this is define my short career.
No rush, no rush.
Oh. Little camera time. 2 minutes left before that time cap.
Yeah, and for everyone watching at home too, this is a unique scenario where we run on a stationary propelled erg, right? In the form of this Woodway right now. We're actually penalized for being a lighter, smaller athlete. Mass moves mass when it comes to a stationary erg, and so the foot power and drive that you put into this is going to reward you a lot like body weight and power is rewarded on the rower and the biker, because we're not moving our body through space. So there's a unique challenge, especially to runners who aren't naturally great runners.
Final 12 deadlifts.
We can tell where the sticking point was, though, and it was the deadlifts.
225 pounds on that axle bar. One thing, we talked about the thickness in terms of grip, but also the thickness in terms of frontal plane.
Yeah, absolutely. Chase, you're talking about that fixed plane on the side of your body. Folks, it's like if we cut her body in half from the side, the closer she can keep it to that line right down the middle of her body, the lighter it will feel, and the circumference of that bar pushes the load further from the middle of her body, and it makes it feel that much more heavy.
I feel this deadlift struggle deeply in my bones.
You got a story for us about that deadlift struggle?
Listen, I'm trying not to use the word triggered, but we're getting there. Ten seconds before the cap.
Come on, finish these deadlifts.
Debuting the CrossFit Games, and then on the second day of competition, you're lining up to the 7-time CrossFit Games champ, Tia-Clair Toomey.
Yeah, high nerves, high stakes, but you're soaking it in, loving every moment of it. Lydia Fish, go get it.
Second and final heat for the individual women for the Albany grip trip. It's Haley Adams sitting in lane 15, currently 14 overall, and Lucy Campbell back for the first time since 2022 after a 2-year fight of a wrist injury just to get back to function, and now she's here competing in her second CrossFit Games. She's tied in points, 6 points behind the woman on her left in the red and white, Tia-Clair Toomey. Tia-Clair Toomey taking a 16th place finish last night, won the first 2 events yesterday to start things off. And Adrian, not to pull out a Michael Jordan reference, but I think she might have taken that 16th place personally.
Yeah, isn't it unique that we're in such a fortunate situation with an athlete that we've been able to watch for years, like Tia-Clair Toomey, that goes 1-1-16 yesterday, still donning the leader jersey, and we're like, yo, she's going to be angry today. And that's just to sum up her whole career, right? The dominance and the high level of expectation that she's blessed us with for her as an athlete is because of her greatness.
10th year competing at the CrossFit Games. She finished second twice to start her career. As Tia is going for 8 CrossFit Games championships. And you hear this a lot from people that, you know, grit and groan about Tia's dominance and what that means to the sport. I can't say it enough how lucky we are to be witnessing such greatness for so long. And personally, I'm here to see more of it as long as she can.
Yeah, what can we do to lure her into continuing this? I'm all for it, Chase. So if it's something that we need to say on the broadcast, something we need to call out, let's go ahead and do that so we can get more of this.
Amy Kringle on the right in all black is actually first off the runner into the bar, along with Lucy Campbell to her left and Tia Toomey in the white and red.
Now, we saw great performance yesterday from a lot of these athletes from the running event to start, as we see Tia get an early start on her handstand walk. So will this all be reflected on the pace that they settle in on the woodway? I'm very curious about for the athletes that are in the top 3 right now.
Now, very early in Tia-Clair Toomey's career, handstand walks were not her best movement, but you can bet that she has been focusing on improving that. And with Shane Orr in her corner, you can guarantee that that is a element that they have worked on significantly, as Tia-Clair Toomey has already moved into first place after the first round.
When we talk about that with Lucy Campbell as well, Chase, with the wrist injury and limitations, she hadn't been walking on her hands and accumulating a ton of volume and training there for that long. So how will she respond to this type of test is going to be a great question as well.
Olivia Kerstetter on the right side of screen, known obviously for her proficiency with the barbell, but Kerstetter is fantastic on her hands.
Fantastic on her hands. And we saw earlier, even on the men's side, that if you're fast on the barbell, you can make up a tremendous amount of time that it could cost you on the run. So this is going to be a really good balanced triplet for Olivia to make a push toward the top of the finish.
Tia-Clair Toomey still held on to that leader jerseys, even with that 16th place finish. And we talked about her quest, her chase for 8. These are some of the great 8s with 7+ championships. Obviously, you have Bill Russell with 11. I mean, look at these names. Don't tell me you don't want to see these people do more of what they're the best at longer in their career. And it's such a treat to have her at 7. And that quest for 8 is alive and well. And look at the names that she's being associated with.
Yeah. I don't know if we have one officially. Do we got a CrossFit Hall of Fame, Chase?
Listen, you're 20. Sounds like a good idea to maybe bust that out. Maybe a Mount Rushmore of CrossFit Games athletes.
Yeah, it's time. It's time.
18 minutes flat, 0.39 set by Gracie Walton in the previous heat. Haley Adams is holding on to second in this heat.
Haley, someone that has worked on her strength and power tremendously, specifically in the squatting form. Through her years, Haley was actually able to compete at a very high level when it comes to hinging. And when we talk about movements, the deadlift categorizes as a hinge. And so this is one of those, coupled with the run and the handstand walk, that she is also going to be extremely competitive at.
Haley Adams' career is quite incredible. She took second twice as a teen, won it in her last year, as she's one of 6 athletes with a teen championship under her belt. But here's her finishes at the games as an individual: 6th, 5th, 9th, and 5th. And Haley is incredible on her hands. And with the way this is put together as far as the programming, is that, yes, if you're the best at all of them, that's your best case scenario. But there is room to maybe mask some deficiencies with the run, the deadlift, and the handstand walk.
Yeah, and that's what we're really looking for. When it comes to a beautiful layout of movements and modalities pieced together, this is one of them. Because you could pick any one of these movements and say, oh, that's my thing. But then what about the other 2? Or maybe one is really poor for you, but you can then make up ground on the other 2. So we're seeing it all play out here, and it's going to be the winner, of course, is going to be the one that can piece it all together and compete at the highest level.
Tia is done. Hot on her heels is Haley Adams and Olivia Kerstetter. As Haley is a fantastic runner, she looks over her shoulder to see where she's at with the rest of the field. As good as she is as a runner, she's fantastic on her hands, as the Haley Adams fan club in the stands cheering her on. See that cadence difference between Tia-Clair Toomey and Haley Adams.
Yeah, Tia much more of that faster, shorter stride length. Haley being a little bit more elongated and relaxed. Tia likely going to have an attack mode where she's going to be increasing the pace of this run as she goes, especially as she finds herself in the driver's seat.
Lucy Campbell still in the mix, currently sitting in 3rd overall with that tie between her and Lydia Fish. As Lucy peeking over to trying to get a peek at Tia-Clair Toomey's screen, see what pace she's at, and with the endurance background that Lucy Campbell had, she's on the national swim team there in the UK. Running should not be an issue, but as you said, it's more just time being able to get upside down since recovering from that wrist injury.
Yeah, for sure. And then just considering her involvement in CrossFit as a methodology, as coach, as teacher,
as a broadcaster,
it's her specialty is literally not specializing, and so has an opportunity here to really showcase that in this triplet.
Lucy Campbell training out of CrossFit Nottingham. See Olivia Kerstetter, who's in about 3rd place coming into this second round as we are in the midst of the 3rd. Kerstetter at her 2nd individual games, but had been a multiple team, and Lucy Campbell has made up a ton of ground on the 3rd run. Lucy Campbell on the right side in the pink and black, just to her left. 7-time CrossFit Games champ Tia Toomey, and Lucy Campbell has moved into 1st. Tia-Clair Toomey hot on her heels.
We talked about that handstand walk being a big decider here. We questioned how prepared is Lucy. She's looking extremely prepared, very efficient. Tia might have her a little bit in regards to speed, but we've got so much further to walk. That's less of the concern right now. It's Lucy keeping her close so that she has a chance.
And here's the thing with Lucy is that she is not afraid of anybody out there on the competition floor, even though this is only her second time in the CrossFit Games. Obviously, Tia's 10th. But what we've seen Lucy do this year, yes, she competed in 2022. She won 2 events at the CrossFit Games, so she has beaten stiff competition over the years. Kerstetter moving into third on the right side of your screen. Lucy made up a lot of ground on that last run. About 4 seconds on the run on Tia and 2 on the handstand walk, or on the deadlifts.
Yeah.
And that might be it. We know her handstand walks may take a hit just because she hasn't been able to train that over the last 2 years. However, there's opportunities on the board to make up for what she could lose in the handstand walk.
That's right, and that's what it's all about in regards to competing head-to-head. You got to know where the juice is worth the squeeze. And if she's feeling good on the runner and she's feeling good on those deadlifts, that is a great opportunity for her going into this next round to potentially try to have a slight lead going upside down.
Just past the 10-minute mark, the time to beat is 18 minutes as Haley Adams has moved back into third place on the left side of your screen.
Yeah, and it seems like it's her and Olivia Kerstetter back and forth a little bit between third and fourth place, and it's where Haley gets back on that runner and is able to get a little bit more momentum past Olivia, where she sneaks back into that third position.
Lydia Fish finishing up her third set on the handstand walk. She's a good runner, great at gymnastics. But we know that deadlift at that weight with that bar will be a tough point for her. She had a great performance last night with a front squat clean complex.
Yeah, actually impressed me tremendously the way that she moved those final 2 barbells, Chase. And this is where we talk about strength through years and fitness through years. These young athletes have to expedite the process in order to try to catch up on the strength side of things. And what we know for an athlete like that is that even her experience on that runner gets harder because of how difficult the deadlifts actually are.
Lucy Campbell back to the barbell, has made up a little bit of that ground she lost in the handstand walk to Tia Toomey, though Tia Toomey is moving that bar a little quicker on this 4th round as Haley Adams on the left side of your screen still holding on to third place. And it looks like Lucy Campbell's just going to hold on to the bar.
Let's go.
Wasting no time overhead. Forcing the pace for Tia Toomey.
What I like about Lucy's walk is that she softens her elbow in order to get her cadence forward. There's bend there. She's able to keep her hands a little bit more underneath her. Tia decides to almost waddle her walk. She pivots her shoulders slightly. This is just a little bit of energy bleed, and both these women are at their threshold.
Yeah.
Here we go, baby.
Let's go. Now Tia has been walking faster than Lucy, but Lucy is starting to pull away and Tia breaks. Lucy Campbell is done as she starts round number 5.
This is her opportunity. Here we go. She's got to put significant distance between her and Tia, because you always have to question, Chase, how fast is Tia going to run here, and how much will this extra 50 feet coming up affect everything towards the end of this event?
Lucy Campbell was tied in points for second place with 236. Tia Claire Toomey is in first place with 242. Lucy Campbell, if she holds on to this, can put herself solidly in second. And if Tia holds on as well, she'd be to be 2 points back of the 7-time CrossFit Games champ.
Chase, we talk about this comeback from Lucy Campbell. I saw her compete at elite competitions this year, standing on top of the podium, against other CrossFit Games competitors that are historied, even previous champs like Laura Horvath, besting them in-person events. And that really put me on notice of her mindset and her competitive advantage that she brings when it's time to compete in person. And we're getting to witness it right here. She goes head-to-head with the champ.
Lucy Campbell's been faster on the run. She went unbroken on her 4th set of deadlifts. Again, that is a thick bar, and it's 220 pounds. Can Lucy Campbell hold on? It's one thing to chase down the champ. It's another thing to be chased by the champ. 50 meters left for Lucy Campbell.
She's focused. Chase body language still looks very positive. Tia's focused. She knows exactly where she wants to be or where she wants to hold.
Lucy Campbell went unbroken on her 4th set.
The efficiency of Lucy's deadlifts all event long have been extremely impressive. Narrow stance with her feet, getting her feet directly under her hips, softens her upper back, not as a fault, but as an advantage to get the bar to the ground quicker.
Lucy Campbell with the crowd at her back is going to try to go unbroken again, and she does. 150 feet stand between her and her 3rd event win at the CrossFit Games. Tia takes a break. Lucy Campbell going for unbroken on her first 50-foot handstand walk.
This is where she gets a chance. She's like, okay, I've got time. I've got some space here.
Lucy Campbell kicks up again. Tia Claire Toomey on her hands. Tia Claire broke at the 25-foot mark in the last round. Lucy Campbell going for another 50. Now remember, we have one more 50-foot section in the 5th and final round. Lucy has plenty of time for the time to beat. She just has to focus on Tia. Lucy Campbell's on her hands again. Lucy Campbell has been at a competition for 2 years. She's won 3 events since she's returned. She's beat a previous champ, and the Queen Slayer, Lucy Campbell, takes down another one. Haley Adams is trying to catch Tia because Tia got a no rep on her 2nd lap. Tia still has 50 feet to go.
And it's the accumulation of that inverted position, Chase.
And Haley Adams is the 4 points that Lucy Campbell needed. 25 feet left to go for Tia Claire. She will not be in white and red much longer after this, as Tia may be getting past. If she does not get to the finish line, she's got to look out for Kerstetter. 5 feet left to go for Tia. Tia will get 3rd in the event. The point drop is 4 per place. Lucy Campbell was 6 points back coming into this event as Kerstetter has crossed the finish line. Ariel Lowen work on her handstand walk. We are at the 18. We still have 7 minutes before he hit the 25-minute cap. Amy Kringle takes a break at 25, and here comes Ariel Lowen. It's a race to the finish between Campbell and Kringle.
Brandon across at the same time.
Daniel Brandon. So 3 athletes right there at the finish line with Ariel Lowen, Kringle, Brandon, and Sturt.
Wow, what a race. What a race.
Lydia Fish just trying to close this one out. We knew it would be a tough one for her because of the deadlift. Miriam von Rohr is working through her final 50 feet across the competition floor. Miriam von Rohr has won the Open back-to-back years. In 25 and 24, her first time on the competition floor here at the CrossFit Games. Raptis is in. Von Rohr is in. Claudia Gluck still has 100 feet left to go, as we are 5 minutes away from that 25-minute time cap.
Going unbroken all the way back. For some of these athletes, this is a big point of contention in regards to how they pace this thing, how they started this thing. Again, we see a lot of athletes get off in round one around similar times, and then we see this parity towards the finish as Greer's across.
Annika Greer's in. Claudia Gluck finish her final 50 feet. Fisa Gaffi won the event last night on the pegboard. And just trying to do everything she can to finish this event to start day number 2. Fisa Gaffi was sitting in 9th overall coming into this event.
Yeah, and struggling a bit even with the handstand walk. And of course we understand there's been a tremendous accumulation throughout this event so far to get her to this 5th round. But even the pace at which she's moving on her hands, that could have been a significant time loss throughout this whole event, where other athletes are simply just walking faster on their hands.
And what we have coming up, Adrian, is the strength test of the games. Obviously, strength has been tested in the clean. It's being tested here in the deadlift, but a 1-rep max back squat is what is looming for these individual athletes. Now seeing this event take place, what is that fatigue element, that mental element coming in to that strength test for these athletes?
Well, along with yesterday, the 3 events that we worked through yesterday, and then this morning, the distance that was covered in the run and all these deadlifts is certainly going to accumulate and certainly affect what we see from a performance perspective on this back squat later.
Lucy Campbell will not be wearing pink and black much longer, and Tia will not be wearing white and red either.
A little wardrobe switcheroo going into the back squats later.
Syria Meha, who won the in-affiliate semifinal. Still, I say still has plenty of time, but sometimes when the athlete is like, listen, can we do about that 22-minute time cap that the guys have? Can we get that back? Meha is in. And ladies and gentlemen, strap in, because it wasn't a single under that tripped her up. Lucy Campbell has done what no one has been able to do in the middle of a competition.